And here's the thing. I used to dread sending mock-ups to my clients because I knew that every single time there would be changes and then changes and more changes and changes forever. And so every time I sent a mock-up over to my clients, I held my breath and I crossed my fingers and I hoped that it wouldn't be horrible. And every time I opened my email or I opened my project management system and I saw that the client had responded to my mock-up design, I held my breath even longer until I was blue in the face because I didn't want to know what they had to say. I didn't want to start that endless revision cycle that went on forever until my hair turned gray and I needed a walker just to get around. But this was what happened to me every single time until I changed the way that I presented my work. So for the first few years of my business, I did what most web designers do. I made a mock-up in a graphics design program and I sent it to my clients to review. And that was a huge mistake. In fact, I was making 3 huge mistakes. So first, I want to know, before I dive into this content, how do you feel when you send mock-ups to your clients? Give me either an emoji or a one-word response and let me know how sending mock-ups to your clients makes you feel. Okay, and for those of you who are tuned in and who haven't met me yet, I'm Erin Flynn. I help web designers just like you create more profitable businesses by streamlining their systems, raising their rates, and creating happy clients that get you more referrals. All right, are you guys ready to dive into these mistakes? Because I am. Okay. Mistake number 1 was I was sending them a static mock-up. So you know the web design process, you do a wireframe, you mock up, and then you code. And that's how we used to do it in the old days because we used to have to hand code a lot. So having a wireframe and then nailing the design down before we started coding saved us tons of time from coding and recoding again and again. But the thing is that this process actually doesn't make any sense today. It actually is kind of backwards and it's, just not practical. Because with modern technology like WordPress, Squarespace, Showit, all of these different things, it hardly takes any longer just to build the website than it does to design it in a graphics program. So it takes about the same amount of time either way. So why would you do both? It just doesn't make sense. It's not practical. When you send them this graphic that they're expected to review, they don't understand what it is. Nothing clicks, nothing moves, and nothing works. It's a pretty picture, but they can't picture it as a functioning site because they're not designers. So they have question after question about how things are supposed to work. And yes, there are apps out there that let you upload your mock-ups and then you can add in links and make it more like a functioning website. But again, why would you spend that time when in the same amount of time you could have made a real website with the technology that's available now? Static mockups are outdated, they take more time, they result in more revisions, and your clients don't understand them. So that's a huge mistake you need to stop making. Mistake number 2 was not presenting my work properly. So all those websites where I made a mock-up and I dreaded sending them to a client was mainly because I didn't realize that I needed to present my work in a way that explained my decisions to my clients. I used to just, throw the mock-up at them and leave them to say what they liked or they didn't like and to figure out everything on their own, like why I did certain things and why it was designed certain ways. So of course, naturally, they had issues. They didn't understand why I chose the images I chose or arranged things the way that I did on the page. They just didn't understand the process. But thankfully, all of that changed when I started recording short videos where I walked the client through the design and I explained why I did things in a certain way. And as soon as I started doing this, my revisions dropped significantly. In fact, I hardly ever have more than 1 or 2 tweaks now. Like really, it's pretty rare to have anything more than a tiny tweak. And they're not normally about the design anymore. They're normally about maybe the client changing their mind on a small aspect to better fit the goals of their website after I've explained the whole reasoning behind my design process. So when you walk clients through your decisions, they trust you and they understand why you made the decisions that you did with their design. So they don't ask you to make many changes, if any at all. So that's awesome. All right, mistake number 3 was not guiding the client through giving feedback. So remember back when I was holding my breath when I talked about in the beginning of this? A big part of that was because I never knew what to expect in terms of feedback from my clients. Would they ask me to make the blue bluer? Would they ask me to make the logo bigger? If I sent this to them, would they send 45 separate emails with conflicting changes that I would have to weed through and try and interpret? I didn't know. And the thing is that most people don't know how to give feedback. So you have to tell them how to give you the kind of feedback that you need in order to do your job. So around the same time that I started presenting my work via a video recording, I also started creating feedback guidelines for my clients to follow. And inside these guidelines, I did things like ask them to keep their goals and their audience in mind, because, that's the whole point. And I also asked them, not to do things like crowdsource feedback from random people in their Facebook groups, which I know is a problem that a lot of us have. I would ask them specific questions about the design and what they liked and what they didn't like, always referencing back to what they wanted their website to do, the solution that their website was giving them. And most people, as you probably know, because you've heard me talk about this a lot, they want their website to bring in more leads, make them more money, or save them more time. So between explaining why I designed the way I did and guiding the feedback so that the client's goal was always front and center in the design and in what they were reviewing, I not only got useful feedback so that I could improve the design and make it even better, but I got it all in one place at one time so that I wasn't trying to decipher 45 contradictory emails that were driving me up the wall. And again, this helped my revisions go way down because the focus wasn't on how blue the blue was or how big the logo was, but on whether or not the design achieved what the client wanted it to achieve, which it now did. To wrap this up, sending your designs to your clients does not really have to stress you out. So if it does, it doesn't have to be that way. It can actually be a fun and enjoyable experience for both of you. But you need to not send static mockups. With modern technology, you can create a functioning site in the same amount of time as you can a static graphic. So skip that step and send something to your clients that they understand, they can click around in, and that they will get. Present your work like the expert that you are. So don't leave your clients to figure out why you did something. You should create a video walkthrough and show them why you designed in the way that you did, or how your design helps them achieve their goals. And this will help your revision cycles drop drastically. You will see a huge, huge reduction in the number of revision requests. And guide your clients' feedback. Remember, have them focus on their goals and their audience and whether your design achieves their goals. So ask them specific questions that you can use to make improvements to the design so that you make your best work possible. Making these changes will reduce your revisions, it will organize your feedback, and it will make you look like a total pro. So I want to know, what changes will you be making to your mockup process, or are you going to go straight to browser? What are you going to do? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you next week.